Hey there, it's Christine, and I want to have you sketch with me today. I've got a little bit of a sore throat, so I hope we can get through this. But everybody in the world has heard about the bald eagles in Southern California, and the parents are called Jackie and Shadow, and they had two chicks, which we think are females, called Gizmo and Sunny, and they are just about to fledge. They've had a few of their first flights around the Big Bear Lake area with their parents, and so they're just about to leave the nest forever. So I thought we could look at some videos and study them and then try to sketch them together. Now, I don't have a third camera. I only have the camera showing me and the video of the eagles. I don't have a camera demonstrating me drawing, but it's likely that you've drawn a lot of animals with me, so maybe you know my style. Now, I'm going to be using this toned paper. And if you followed me a couple months ago when the chicks were young, we did some sketches like this. So there's an example. And here's another quick example. So the chicks were really small back then, and now they're about as big as their parents. And I'm going to be using these charcoal pencils, partly because they're really fast and fun, and because you can see them better. Now, again, I don't have a camera facing down to have you watch me sketch, but I'll do a little demo here a bit if I can. And so anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I'm not sure if I can see some comments. Yeah, there I can. If it's possible, if you can comment, do so. So anyway, I'm sorry I scheduled this when my voice is gone, but it's been 7 days that I lost my voice. So anyway, the plan is that I'm going to show you these video clips that I've assembled from the last couple weeks, including from just yesterday, where the chicks were fledging. And we'll talk about their anatomy and talk a bit about how to sketch them. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to be looking at this video in just a second. Let me get my pointer out of the way. So like I said, I'm going to use charcoal pencils, and I'm going to use a black one and a white one. So I'm just going to show you kind of my style of how I do it. And then you can just watch the video along with me, and we can talk about their anatomy as we go. So when you notice the eagles, well, you see the eagles are raptors. They have really big eyes, really good vision, and really big bills. So you want to just be really trying to capture those characteristics. But I always say focus more on learning or drawing to learn while learning to draw. So don't worry too much what ends up on your paper. Be more inspired about what you learn by looking at the birds close enough to draw them. So I don't care if you take this paper and afterwards just crinkle it up and throw it away. The whole idea is what goes in your brain in terms of appreciating the anatomy and the behavior while you're drawing. So I see we have a couple viewers. I'm not sure if you can put comments in. Again, sorry for my voice. I do have some throat coat tea, and I've been taking lozenges. I've been fighting this cold for about a week, so it's hard for me to schedule this. But anyway, what I suggest you do is just go really light and loose, no erasing. And that's one reason I love these charcoal pencils. And so, you know, with this view we have right here, this, I don't know if this is the female or the male, Jackie or Shadow, but anyway, looks really kind of a severe look. And so, you know, I'm just going to kind of be, and again, this is a lot more challenging than I usually have with the video camera facing down in my studio. But I want you to mainly focus on drawing. So we're going to spend most of the time looking at this video, and you're going to draw along. So I'm not going to take you every step of the way. But anyway, the idea is just to keep moving your pencil, keep your eyes going back and forth between your sketch and your video that we're watching, and to make sure you're really kind of drawing what you see. Now these guys have really strong sort of Neanderthal eyebrows above their eyes. So there's a strong brow ridge, so I would put that in. And then noticing the eye, and they have, I can see a bit of a pupil, and kind of like that. um, and then we've got that really strong bill, and it's kind of like a bill, like lots of other raptors, and also like parrots, where you can see the base of the bill, and you can also see the nostrils. So you can't really see the nostrils in a lot of kinds of birds. And then that goes down into the bill. And so in this view, the bill is coming right towards you. Now my proportions are going to probably be really off. But so I do a little triangle for the bill. And then that's the top bill. And then you can see the bottom gape going under the eye. So it's kind of going out like this. And that's where the mouth opens. And you can kind of see and sort of like lips in a way, that it's the skin above and below the actual mouth opening. And then we see some other area between the eye and the bill that doesn't have any feathers. And then along the edge here, we have, it's kind of zigzaggy, especially depending on the wind. And this is a quite windy spot. I don't know if you were watching these guys early on when they were battling snow and trying to keep their young chicks warm under the snow. So anyway, that's just a really quick video or demonstration. So hi, I do see some of you are watching. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that's how I use it. And then I'll take my white pencil, and I won't necessarily fill in all the white feathers, but I'll be kind of looking to show where the highlights are. And so there's probably highlights on the top of this sort of Neanderthal brow, right? And there's a highlight on top of the bill, and probably on the very center of the bill. And then some highlights just kind of on the feathers. So that's my quick demo. Okay, so now we're gonna just watch the video. I'm gonna make that bigger. There we go. And I hope you'll follow along. And even if you don't have any sketching materials, I think I'm gonna try to keep sketching a bit too. And so I'm gonna start this. There we go. Getting my mouse out of the way. So look at that very fierce eye. So always observing something before you start sketching it. Really notice that big, fierce eye. They've got very good vision since they're predators. And beautiful yellow iris and black pupil. And then that giant kind of orangish cream bill, right? Now, the adults here are the ones with the white heads and the white tails. And so in this case, we have one adult. And one of the chicks. And so again, before you start sketching, just really observing their behavior. And also notice their head is moving around a lot more than their body. And look at those big talons. So all raptors have really big feet, very strong talons and 4 toes with really long claws. So noticing that. So we're going to pretend we're up here in this tree. This is a live webcam that has been on these birds ever since early this spring. Oop, here comes another one. That must be Mama or Papa coming to bring another fish. So eagles do tend to live right near big lakes and rivers, and that's what they mainly eat is fish. Now they're looking at a predator that's flying above them. This is a raven, and that raven's been bugging them ever since the chicks were young because they were hoping that they could get a chick. So here we see the two parents, and they are tearing apart the prey and getting it ready for the chicks. Now the chicks are old enough; they're just about as big as the parents, so they don't need too much help tearing the food apart. But they eat a lot of trout and other freshwater fish that are in the lake, and probably other non-native fish that have been planted in various lakes for fishing. But they also eat aquatic waterfowl. So over the months, the parents, Jackie and Shadow, have been bringing various waterfowl like ducks and grebes to the chicks as well. Now, here you really notice the difference in the coloration of the chick. So the chick starts out all black, but similarly kind of cream orange colored legs. But they don't get that white head and that bright orange bill for several years. They don't really get mature enough to breed until about 5 years old. And a very small proportion of those chicks will live to be old enough to breed. So you see the chick got oh, that's Gizmo, right? She got it back from one of the parents. So we can pretend that we're up here in the tree with them and we've got our sketchbooks. Now, some people do do a lot of tree climbing, like my friend Marley Pfeiffer, who you may have heard of. He's a very well-known nature sketcher who travels around the world, especially in the neotropics, and has become a tree climber and likes to sketch the bromeliads and orchids and frogs that he finds in trees. So we can just pretend we're him and we're up here, although technically you would not want to be bothering these birds that once were on the endangered species list, but have really bounced back, thankfully, from conservation efforts. So look how kind of wet the feathers are and how they're really zigzaggy. So the more you look at something before you start sketching, the better. Oh, that's a great view right there. Isn't that spooky looking? When that parent's looking right at you. So the parents might be a little bit easier to sketch just because their heads are so obvious. And one thing people ask me a lot is, how do you sketch something that's moving and maybe like a bird, it'll fly away and it'll come back and forth. And so, just be patient. Again, if something flies away, you can try to keep working on the sketch you started from your memory. And observing is a great way to strengthen your memory, especially if you're observing with the intention of drawing and with the assumption that something might fly away. So it's wonderful training for your memory, much better than just taking a video or a photo. Now this, I think, was from yesterday. One of the chicks who's already flown away and gotten some practice flying around the neighborhood and is coming back. The chicks will often come back and forth for a few days or weeks, depending on their strength and the weather and their confidence. And yesterday, the chicks, at least I think Sunny, or was it Gizmo? I forget which one of them fledged first, but one of them is a few days older. And so it has fledged, meaning taking its first flight, I think a couple days ago. So again, if you're just tuning in, I see some new people. What we're doing is we're looking at the video to practice sketching from it. And so again, this was the sketch that I had started and was demonstrating. And so I'm just going to let you keep watching. And if you have any questions, I'm not sure if I can see them in the chat box. I'd love to have you post a comment so I can see if it actually works. I'm using this live streaming service called StreamYard. So it's wonderful to tune in at different times of the day. And that's something you might want to notice when you're sketching is it's a more advanced thing for folks that have sketched before, but to try to indicate in your sketch what time of day it is. Sometimes when the sun is low at dawn and dusk, you just get these beautiful shadows. And if it's during the midday, you get bright highlights on the tops of things, like the tops of birds' heads. But if you're just first learning how to sketch, especially sketching in the field, it's good practice just to start trying to get a silhouette. And so sometimes when birds are in a pose like this, where it feels a little frustrating that you can't see all of them, you can just enjoy, you can just try to sketch what you do see. And so I'm going to start sketching here and just noticing I've just got sketch what you see. Don't think, oh, I can't sketch that because I can't see the eye or the head. Just look at overall shapes, almost as if it was abstract. And just doing really quick thumbnails. And you probably can't hear my pencil, but I'm just going and going, not really thinking, just getting what I can. So I'll show you here. So here's just the really quick thumbnail sketches that I'm starting. And so again, don't worry if you can't see the beautiful eye or the white head. Just make small thumbnails of what you can see. And you can just keep doing it. If you don't like your first one, just try again till you have a whole page of little thumbnails. Now, oops, wait, sorry. So here, oh, wait, I'm gonna. There we go. Okay, so this was a couple days ago, and one of the chicks was getting really brave, and you're gonna just have to watch and see what happens. So again, I really like these views where you just kind of see a silhouette, so you don't have to get worried about trying to get the beautiful feathers and all that stuff. Although of course now she's warming up those feathers. She's like, I want to go off with my parents. And sometimes the parents try to encourage the chicks. Sorry, I don't know why my mouse isn't getting out of the way. Sometimes the parents try to encourage the chicks to fledge by not feeding them as much. So they get hungry and they start saying like, let's get out of here. But you see how big these guys are when they are fully, oh, there it is. So that's the very first flight. And then notice here, leaving for the first time. That's the very first flight just a couple days ago of one of the chicks. I can't remember if it was Sunny or Gizmo. Isn't that amazing? Just imagine what that bird is thinking right now. He's been watching his parents come and go fishing at the lake for weeks and weeks. And the older it got, the bigger it could get, and the bit more it could look outside of the nest. Let's go back to this again. Oop, I'm actually going to pause a couple of these so that we could practice. I hope you are trying to follow along. But I'm just going to sort of artificially pause this so that you could try to get some sketches. And again, sorry about my voice. I would have scheduled this live event for a different time if I thought I would still be sick. But I've been taking an online course and a lot of the instructors are sick too. And I thought, oh, I've caught my sickness from them. Haha, online. Anyway, okay, I'm going to go again. Oh, look at that view. Okay, I'll freeze it. So this is a good way to start practicing sketching in the field, is to sketch from videos. And there are many, many organizations that have live nest cams and feeder cams, especially if you go to like the Cornell Lab of Ornithology website. They'll have a lot of cams up in a tree or at a feeder. And you can watch that live or you can pause it anytime. So let me show you again what I'm doing. So just a bunch of small thumbnails, just an outline. And again, the process is more important than the product. The more you draw something, the more you could just appreciate this beauty. So those wings, when they're adults, can be 80 inches across. Isn't that amazing? I'll freeze it right there for a sec. So if you don't already have any kind of pencil or paper with you, run and get one and just follow along with us. Just have some fun. Oh, Catherine, thank you so much for participating. You say, hello, I am following along. It can be hard to find sketchbook. What we see. Sorry, I couldn't read the rest of that. But yeah, anyway. And another wonderful place to find live wildlife cams is on a company called explore.org. And they will have an amazing array so where am I here? Right. So explore.org. Explore.org. So that is a website that has different webcams all over the world. From the grizzly bears fishing in the rivers of Alaska to places like the Monterey Bay Aquarium and the Cornell Lab for Ornithology feeders. Okay, so anyway, this chick is just about to lose. So Catherine, tell me, have you been watching? Have you been watching the big bear eagles as they've grown up? You would have had to have lived in a cave the last few months to not know about these guys. So I'm just gonna go ahead. Oh, here's a good spot. Okay, so here's a few days ago. So here you can get a good view of that head. So again, sometimes you can get intimidated by trying to draw something in the field because it's moving so fast. So just focus on one thing, like just maybe focus on how you would be drawing that bill at different angles or that just the head, and noticing how an animal will actually usually keep coming into the same position. So like the chick was not that happy for some reason. Catherine said it's hard to sketch what we see and not what our brains tell us should be there. The one view had no head showing, and I kept wanting to put it there. Yes. So I have a special workshop inside my classes that I also do live sometimes, and it's called Drawing on the Right Side, or Right Sided Drawing, Right Brain Drawing. And one of my favorite exercises to trick your brain into really looking and not assuming is to draw from photographs and put the photograph upside down. I'm going to freeze that a second. So, Catherine, I made this handout of high resolution images that all my students got. I sent them to the email list. I don't know if you're on my email list, but go to my website at christinelder.com and get on it. So anyway, often I am providing my students with these high resolution images, and I have them turn the image upside down. And if you look at something upside down, sometimes it focuses your brain to really try to understand it, because your brain is a little bit frustrated by not quite understanding what it's seeing. And so it's going to look a lot harder. And so I will actually have my students try to draw something upside down, meaning you're looking at it upside down and you're drawing it upside down too. Like that, right? Okay, so Catherine, I'm glad you've been watching the whole time. They haven't always been successful. This couple, Jackie and Shadow, have been together a few years, and they have had some issues with raising their chicks. It is challenging to do, not only with the weather, but other predators and just experience as a parent. And, Catherine, you may remember early on there was that huge snowstorm, and they valiantly sat on those chicks. And actually, one chick did pass away, maybe from the cold or being crushed. But it's a tough life out there. So, anyway, yeah. So, practicing sketching from videos like this and live webcams is a great way to practice before you go out in the field sketching real life. So I have led nature sketching holidays to places like Mexico and Honduras and Costa Rica. And I always suggest that if people are newer sketchers, that they should want to maybe try to do that, is practice sketching from videos like this that you can pause anytime you want. And just trying to look at those proportions. I always have students just trying to look at the outline of something first before they start trying to get any highlights or shadows or feathers or anything else like that. So that chick seems like it really wants to just hunker down and not go anywhere. Let me go a little bit. Oh, here's a good area. So here we have the two chicks and one of the parents, and then the other parent is just about to come. So keep your sketches small. Do small thumbnails, because then you're more likely to get something down on paper. So you see the one adult is calling, and there it goes. The other parent just showed up, Shadow. So that's the husband. That's a classic view there. And so, yeah, if you could hear them, it would be really amazing. So just trying to get that outline, like the basic proportions of how big the head is to the body, how big the body is to the wings. And again, those really big legs and talons. And then once you get the basic outline, then you can try to do something a little bit harder, like here when Jackie is calling and she's opening her mouth. Oop, trying to pause it right when she's up there. I got it. Okay, so I paused when her mouth is open. I got another piece of paper here. And so it is so good to do this kind of practicing. Now, sometimes I will just start out with my white pencil, actually, because then I feel like I'm not as committed to a line. And birds like this that have interesting proportions can be challenging. So, for example, they have such big bills, just like parrots have really big bills. Just really big and beefy. It's hard to get that bill maybe as big as it should be. Sort of like hummingbirds. I've been lucky to sketch a lot of hummingbirds in the tropics, and there's a wide diversity of hummingbirds, including the hummingbird, the sword-billed hummingbird with a really long bill. And that's another one that's quite challenging to draw because you just don't want to draw it that big. You think that there's something wrong there. Okay, so I'm going to show you something. Oops, let me see. Okay, so anyway, sometimes I'll just start my sketch with the white pencil so I don't feel as bad that if I make any mistakes. Now, there is a mistake here that a lot of people make. Like I said, sometimes it's hard to get your proportions correct when something has really odd proportions compared to like a robin that we're used to with a medium eye and bill. And so raptors have really big, beefy bills. And so you see how I made the bill big enough, but I didn't give it much of a head back here. And so often we tend to draw what we think is important, just like little kids when they draw a face, they're going to make the eyes real big and they probably won't give the head much forehead. So I kind of did the same thing here to start out with. And so, in reality, the back of the head is much more like that. And here's the eye. So I might start again with that. And then I would start, adding my shadows. Okay, so let's keep going. So tell me in the comments if you're watching, and if you comment, I would love to know if you have bald eagles where you live. I live in Central Oregon in the Cascade Mountains, and we're lucky to be surrounded by many, many beautiful large rivers like the Deschutes River and hundreds of lakes of all different sizes up in the mountains, just a half hour up the highway from me. So we have got many, many bald eagles. And sometimes I've even had a bald eagle as a yard bird. So I have them on my yard list. Again, sorry for my voice. I've had a bad voice for a whole week now with a chest cold and a head cold. So the adults get that beautiful white coloration when they're about 5 years old, and then that's also a signal to other birds that they're mature and possibly ready to mate. The females are larger than the males. And again, you notice that really piercing large eye with a black pupil and the beautiful cream colored iris. You notice that really strong supraorbital ridge, it's called, but the kind of the eyebrow and that big orange bill that they use to so easily rip up the fish that they've been bringing to the chicks. Okay, Catherine, thank you so much for participating and chatting with me. It can get pretty lonely teaching online. And speaking of that, as we keep watching this, and I'm just going to keep sketching here, I did want to mention that speaking of, you know, being lonely, I'm starting a new program that I'd love to have folks consider, and it's a new nature sketching and journaling online program. But the idea is for people to be really interactive. And so you see how much I appreciated Catherine chatting. And so I think people would love to have more interactions with each other, especially if they like the idea of doing nature sketching and journaling, which isn't a really big hobby, not half as big as bird watching. So I'm going to be doing an online program. It's going to be live online, and it's going to be like a monthly membership. And it will have new workshops every month. And in fact, Sunday is my first one on wildflowers. And we're going to be sketching whatever flowers students have. Oh, what did he bring? Look, a branch. That's cute. So, yeah, tell me in the comments if that might interest you, being a monthly member of my online program of nature sketching and journaling. It'll have, weekly tips and monthly live calls where we'll have a sketch together and share our discoveries out in the natural world, and as a way to be more accountable to each other for really making time to get out in the field. They're having a lot of fun there. Sometimes their behavior is really odd. You wonder what they're doing. So, yeah, I am launching this new online program of nature sketching and journaling, and it's going to be really interactive. So, I will be requesting that students be sharing their screens and sharing their discoveries. And it's focused mostly on, observing and appreciating nature. And, just doing, maybe doing sketches that are just quick thumbnails like this or a little bit crazier, like this first demo I did. And so I'm launching this new online program, and I'm going to have a founding members price. I will have to charge because the online program that I use, of course, charges me. But it's a new online app, I guess you'd call it, platform where there's a lot of interaction allowed or enabled between students, which I haven't had before in my old platform. So tell me in the chat box if that interests you. And I'm planning to launch it, kind of have a soft launch between now and the first day of summer. Really wanted to launch this for summer and get people inspired about getting outdoors with a nature sketching practice. So we're going to start June 21st. But before that, I'm going to want to welcome some founding members who can help me to design the program to make it the most interesting for the folks that are interested in the same thing I am, which is basically focusing on what you're learning about nature as you're sketching it, not necessarily trying to make gorgeous pictures, because I know a lot of online teachers are really talented, like all the gals that have been teaching in the sketchbook revival program this last couple weeks. There are a lot of people that just make beautiful artistic journal pages. And my focus is going to be a lot more on, kind of an A for effort, in terms of an A for how much you observe about something. And how much you document that in your journal, and what you've really learned in the process. And so I'm really hoping also that participants will be sharing the practice, taking, their kids or grandkids or their neighbors or their school group out and doing nature sketching as well. Because if you've tried it before, you become an evangelist of it, like I am, which is really just having knowing that transformative feeling you have when you're out in nature and really connecting with it in a tangible way by the process of sketching. And sometimes you would sketch from photographs, and I did that a lot during the pandemic. I don't know if you've followed me since the pandemic, but we started sketching from these downloadable photos I made March 20th, 2020. And I've taught over 250 live online workshops. Although I do have to say that this is the worst voice I've ever had on a workshop. But hey, it's free. So you got to take what you got. Anyway, so you can see the coloration of these chicks is mainly this warm brown, and there's a little white. And then they've got a yellow base to their bill. And then as they mature in the first couple of years, they'll get more of a black and white pattern to their body. And then after 5 years, they get that beautiful, bright, snow white head. So, yeah. So anyway, sketching from live webcams like this is just such great practice. And like I said, you can check out other websites that have live webcams from all over the world. Of course, in this spring and summer, there are a lot of them on birds. And there's a lot of eagle nests webcams all over the United States as well. So we're going to just watch this for a few more moments, but I got to get going pretty soon, and it's been almost an hour. And so just noticing that fun behavior too. They're really having fun with those sticks. And these nests will get to be like, well, as big as the reach of my arms. They can get 6 or 8 feet, and they will keep working on those nests year after year. And we have a nest on a trail nearby that's about 100 feet up in a ponderosa pine tree. It just keeps getting bigger every year. So they're pretty sturdy. But they really do like to play with these sticks and kind of compete with who can bring the best stick. So behavior is actually another thing that you can add to your journal. And you don't have to draw everything. Nature journaling isn't really about drawing pretty pictures all the time. You can just make notes about behaviors you see. You can add all kinds of things, poetry, you can add maps, even collage, like if you have an entrance ticket to a park, like this big Friends of Big Bear Valley organization. They're at this park. Maybe there's an entrance ticket. So you can make your journals really fun. They don't have to be just sketches, and you don't have to be an artist to do them. Again, in my teaching, I really focus on people of all abilities. It has nothing to do with age or ability or art. It has to do with the fact that you're a nature lover and you're enthusiastic about really learning more and understanding more deeply the natural world through a sketching practice. And so that's why I'm so excited to launch this new online sketching and journaling membership, which I'm going to be talking about pretty much daily for the next couple of weeks, because I'm really launching it first day of June, first day of summer, June 21st. But I would really love to have some founding members before that. That could help me shape the program and do something that's really useful to them. But it's going to be pretty different than what I've done, especially during the pandemic, where we are just watching me drawing from photographs. That can get pretty boring. Now you can't always, find things like giraffes and aardvarks and bighorn sheep to observe in the wild. So sometimes I do draw from photographs, but in my upcoming programs, it's going to be a lot more based on, what we can find in our own parks and backyards. And so, yeah, on Sunday, I'm doing my first workshop practice run on wildflowers. So if you're on my email list, you got an email about that yesterday, I think. Okay, well, it's been almost an hour. And the rest of this video is pretty much just, I think, Sunny sitting there watching the sunset and thinking about how exciting it's been for the last few days learning how to fly. So thank you so much for joining me. Please do put in the comments whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook if you're interested in getting more information and getting on the wait list of my new program and becoming a founding member who will have the lowest price that I will keep it at forever. And you'll also get to help me steer the program in the right direction. Oh, rhymes with orange. You just got here. Well, we're just wrapping up, but you can watch the replay. Sorry for my voice. I've got a chest cold. But we have been talking about and sketching in the field these guys, just practicing quick thumbnail sketches and just appreciating how much we can learn just by the process of sketching and not putting any value on the actual result on the paper, but putting the value of how much we've gained in terms of understanding and appreciation of the natural world, like these eagles, through the process of looking at them long enough and hard enough to attempt to sketch them. So anyway, thank you so much. I got to go because I'm definitely losing my voice and I only plan to be here for an hour. So put comments in the chat box and I'll get back to you later. Again, tell me if you're interested on getting on the wait list as a founding member of my new nature sketching and journaling online monthly membership. Okay, I got to get going. I'm losing my voice. Bye.